Hey guys, how's it going? Today I wanted to talk about the subject of, is it better to sometimes tell a lie than to tell the truth? I mean, if you really think about it, it really depends on the situation, but on our everyday life journey, we watch commercials, we see a lot of advertisement, and they always tell us something. Is it always the truth? I don't think so. Same with television. If you really look at it, they're always telling us things, including the news and stuff like that, and it's not always the truth. So is it better to tell a lie than the truth? Once again, it really depends on the situation. First of all, if you were to believe every single ad that you saw on television, then take a brand like Coca-Cola, you would just drink Coca-Cola because it's absolutely the best drink you can ever have in the whole world, and that is all you ever need to drink, right? So yeah, I think these are lies in some ways because it's also really dependent on our taste buds. Same with watching the news. If you really believe everything that the news will say, then you will not really have much an opinion for yourself. For example, me living in Los Angeles and my mom living in Europe, oftentimes they'll talk about the fires and earthquakes and all that, and yes, they are bad and dependent on the location, but for someone who is far away, sometimes they may think that something that's located 30, 40 miles away from you is actually where you're living, and then it creates a bit of panic. And of course this year we've had some pretty bad fires, or really bad fires in California, but often we will have also earthquakes, and most of the time I don't even feel them, but the news make a big deal out of it, and people have another impression about things. So is that a lie, or is that exaggerating the truth? I think that that a lot of stuff is lied to us. And for example, if you're a kid, parents say Santa Claus, Father Christmas, depending on what country you're in, they will say that Santa Claus is going to come and give you some presents on Christmas Day. Well, that's obviously a lie because he doesn't really exist. Sorry, I hope I didn't spoil it for some people. But yeah, so we're lied upon as kids, but is it a bad lie? Well, not really. If you think about it, it's actually kind of good. It's fun. The kid has something to look forward to, and he can kind of believe in magic for as long as he stays a kid in some way, right? So that's really nice, and that wouldn't have been given to us if our parents didn't create a sort of little white lie in some way, right? And I think obviously most of the time nowadays, if you really think about it, when you have to hand out a resume to a company and you're trying to get that job, your CV will often have little white lies in it because it's kind of like a catch-22. You can't really get a job without having experience, and they always want experience, but there's a certain moment in life where you just have the school experience and you might be qualified for the job, but unfortunately just because you have to start somewhere, you just don't have that experience that they want, and how can you expect to have it without having been employed at least once? And so I guess you have to lie, and it's not really necessarily a bad lie. It's a white sort of lie, where basically you're you know you have that qualification, but at the same time you know that if you don't embellish a little bit what you've done in the past, you won't actually be given that chance. And that's why they say, for example, in Hollywood, you got to fake it till you make it. And that's the thing, is I think a lot of people tend to lie about things or embellish and say how great I am at this and how great I am at that. And by doing that, they're able to actually go a little bit further in life. That's why they say that somebody who knows how to speak is somebody who basically owns the world, because you can convince people, you can do things. It goes back to politics. They wouldn't be in the position that they're in if they hadn't over-exaggerated some things, because you can promise whatever you want in life and you're hoping to do the best you can to do it, but until it's happened, you can't really say that it will happen. So that's the thing, you know. It's really impossible to predict. So you can say I will do my best to provide for the family and I will always be there for you. But the truth is that what if you get sick? What if you get injured? What if you die? You can't really promise that, and then it's also not really always just up to you. I mean, what if the person you're with, it doesn't work out and they walk away? So basically you promised to provide for that family for life, but that person's gone. So I guess you can provide financially, but what if that person doesn't want it and they go away? And it creates a whole hullabaloo. So I guess that's technically a bit different, but that's the thing, is that we live in a world where also it's always in some way very relative if something is considered a lie or not, right? I think maybe somebody thinks that it is truth and it's not. And maybe, let's say, somebody believes in energy and energy throughout the body and stuff, but maybe scientifically you can't really prove it in some way, even though everything is made out of energy. Maybe you can't perform Reiki, or you can't, some of it is just magic and poetry. I'm not sure. I'm not a scientist. I can't really say about that, but it's, what if you really believe in that and basically it turns out to be untrue? Are you lying or are you not lying? So yeah, it's very difficult. And if you are lying, even though you think you're saying the truth, does that make you a bad person? I don't think so, because basically you didn't really know it. And I think in the end everything is very relative, but I think it's okay to say some sort of lie sometimes if it's not something that's going to hurt someone else. I think you can make lies up sometimes, or skew a little bit the truth, embellish it like they say, in order to maybe make a better world out of the place that we live in. And I think that's nice too. So as you can tell, it's there is no right or wrong answer, but I think use your best judgment, and I think you kind of know when you're doing something bad. And I don't think most people try to do bad things. I think in general, even people who are stealing and stuff, either they're angry at something and they just feel frustrated, or they're maybe doing it for somebody else. Maybe they're doing it because they need to provide for the family somehow, and it doesn't really make them a bad person, even though they did a bad thing. It's just circumstances. Well, that's what I have to talk about today. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great day. Bye.